What the information that is coming to us from our colleague Shrishti Ojha, who's inside the courtroom, is that the court is considering the final date for the hearing actually is still under consideration. The lawyers have asked. I have said that the parliament session is day after tomorrow, and that is why the hearing date has now been changed to day after tomorrow. That is, today is Tuesday. The hearing will now be on Thursday for the bail hearing for Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh. Remember, the court has granted him interim bail for a period of 48 hours. The hearing will now be day after tomorrow, that is Thursday, and court has given him conditional bail, interim bail, I beg your pardon, on a bail bond of 25,000 each. Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh as well as Vinod Tomar have been granted interim bail till Thursday on a bail bond of 25,000 each. They have also been directed very clearly to not contact any of the witnesses or victims in this particular case to ensure that they do not influence any of the witnesses. And that is something that the counsel for the public prosecutor, Atul Srivastava, had said that conditions must be imposed on both of them, as the regular bail plea will now be heard on Thursday. It is going to be very crucial to see what the stand of the police is going to be then, because today, as per the update sent by my colleagues Srishti and Shreya, the PP had said that while we have not arrested either Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh or the Vinod Tomar so far, I am opposing bail for now. What is also important is that the judge is also asking the media, and this is important for us as well, because the judge is now asking the media to ensure that there is nothing is misquoted in the media, because the bad reporting could have consequences, and this is something that the court is saying with regard to the reportage on this particular case. But this is going to be very, very crucial to see now on Thursday, as the regular bail hearing for Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh and Vinod Tomar will be held. The court has given 2 days interim bail to Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh as well as Vinod Tomar. They will now have to appear before the court on Thursday afternoon. The police has to give all the documents relating to the charge sheet as well as their response to the bail application on Thursday. Remember, the police so far had not arrested Brij Bhushan or Vinod Tomar, and in fact in their charge sheet itself they had said that because they were cooperating with the investigation, because they had appeared for questioning every time a notice under section 41A was given to them, that is why they've chosen not to arrest them. For now also, when the judge asked the public prosecutor, the special public prosecutor Atul Srivastava, what is it that you have to say today? The lawyer was initially telling the court about the law relating to arrest and bail in the country. The judge said, do not tell me the law, tell me what is your opinion as the prosecutor. Should they be granted bail or not? The police, public prosecutor at that point said that I am opposing bail, but if you do grant bail, then we could there should be certain conditions imposed on them to ensure that no witnesses are bullied, no witnesses are influenced in the time period that it takes for the trial to be conducted. Back to you.
At this point, it seems like, Anisha, that Brij Bhushan has barely 2 days now of relief. Can't really call this relief quite so, because in 2 days' time, the court is going to take up hearing yet again. In the next hearing that's due to happen on Thursday, what's expected to be on the agenda? Like, will they be deliberating on the charge sheet itself? What more could be discussed?
Well, Nabila, remember, this is the procedure that happens, and I'm again reiterating this for the benefit of our viewers. When there is a charge sheet that has been filed, when the court has taken cognizance and issued summons to an accused person in a criminal case, the procedure that happens is that the accused has to come to the court, mark their presence before the judge, and then the process begins. They are given a copy of the charge sheet. The court takes a note of what is in the charge sheet, whether all the documents have been given to them or not, and then the arguments on framing of charges under which the trial will go on, then that will begin at that stage. For now, on Thursday, what we will see is the arguments on whether or not Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh and Vinod Tomar will be granted bail during this entire process of framing of charges and then of trial. Remember, I beg your pardon, since the police has so far not arrested either Brij Bhushan or Vinod Tomar, the police even today, when the judge asked the prosecutor for his opinion, the prosecutor has said that while I am opposing bail, if in case the court chooses to grant bail, there should be certain conditions imposed on the Brij Bhushan as well as Vinod Tomar. So clearly, it seems that the police has not been inclined to arrest him so far and is unlikely to be very vehement when it comes to his arrest, even following the charge sheet. And in any case, if you see precedent cases, if you see how the criminal law behaves normally, in a case like this where the allegations are of offences which carry less than 7 years punishment, it is very rare for someone to be arrested, especially when they have not been arrested during the court itself. So at the moment, what we are looking at is what Brij Bhushan and Vinod Tomar both appearing before the court again on Thursday. They will again have to mark their presence. They will have to argue on the issue of regular bail. What the police has to say at that point will be very crucial, because today at least they have simply said if you grant bail, please impose certain conditions, that he should not influence the witnesses. If they have something more to say the next time, that will also be crucial. But what is also interesting right now, and this is the news that we are breaking from the information that my colleague Srishti Ojha has sent from inside the court, Brij Bhushan's lawyers have alleged a media trial against him. They have said that the entire details of the charge sheet, etc., is being put out in the media, that he is being faced with a media trial, and that is why they, according to Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh's lawyers, there should be in-camera proceedings and a gag order. The court, of course, for now has not passed any such orders. The judge inside has said that if you want an in-camera proceeding, you file the appropriate application, ask the court to order an in-camera trial. If you want a media gag, you'll have to go before the High Court for such an order. But at the moment, from the updates that my colleague Srishti Ojha is sending us from inside the courtroom, the lawyers for Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh are pushing very, very hard for this for the media to not report on this particular trial. They're saying that verbatim charge sheet is being reported, that he is being subjected to a media trial, but the court for now has not given him any relief with regard to these allegations. He will now have to appear before the court on Thursday
is 2 days barely, Anisha, for him. So it's not quite a relief that's come in the way for Brij Bhushan or Tomar. I'm going to cut across to Nalini as well, joining us on that. Nalini, the man we're speaking of here is a BJP MP. He was the WFI chief. He, in fact, completed his term, but was defiant all throughout. Never resigned, said that he is innocent, and this is just a vilification campaign against him by those wrestlers who tried to defame him for their own ulterior motives. This is what he's saying, and now with a charge sheet that's filed, nearly 1,600 page charge sheet in court, with evidence showing those photographs that we're playing on our screens as well, where it's quite evident that he's making some sexual advances or physical advances towards those victims. It seems like the doors are closing in, walls are closing in on Brij Bhushan.
Well, Nabila, there are some damning parts in this charge sheet, especially against Brij Bhushan, despite the fact that there is a detailed statement by Brij Bhushan himself where he is given his part of the story and his defense, where he says that he has never traveled alone anywhere at any times during any tournaments. He ensures that there are always referees or coaches or his security staff that accompanies him, and he has never really met any woman wrestler by himself alone. So these are the statements that Brij Bhushan himself has given in his response that are made part of the charge sheet. But along with that, the testimonies of the wrestlers also paint a very, very horrific picture, where they've spoken about the repeated sexual assault that Brij Bhushan had subjected them to ever since the year 2012 right up till 2022. So 10 years of repeated sexual assault instances instances have been laid out by the 6 women wrestlers very bravely in this charge sheet. And although there are certain aspects that are still under investigation, as stated by the Delhi police, because they've said that they've not been able to establish anything after the analysis of the call data records that they've got so far, and that they're still waiting for the forensic evidence regarding this case. Keeping those things in mind, there are likely to be many more twists and turns in the investigation in the coming days, because the Delhi police has also stated in the charge sheet that because of the protest that was ongoing of the wrestlers, due to that they were not able to take the wrestlers out of the city for investigation in different places, because the sexual harassment allegedly has happened in several different areas. So they need to take the wrestlers there for the investigation to be carried out, but they've not been able to do that because the protests were still going on. But now that the protests have been called off, the investigation on those aspects is going to continue, and we are going to have to wait and see exactly how far it goes. But for now, there is a slight relief coming in for Brij Bhushan Singh. Delhi police has categorically laid down their reasons for why they don't want to arrest him in the charge sheet, and today also they've said that they're only opposing his bail to the limited extent that some conditions need to be imposed upon him, which is slightly ironical considering the fact that those are the same reasons why the Delhi police has cited that they don't need to arrest him, because he's not tried to threaten or influence any witness in the case and has completely cooperated with the investigation. So for the Delhi police to now come and say there need to be certain conditions that need to be imposed upon him, it remains to be seen exactly why they did it. But for now, slight relief coming in for him, but day after tomorrow the hearing on the regular bail as to whether or not should be granted to him will be conducted.
You know, Nalini, we see a lot more points coming in by Shrishti Ojha from court, inside court, where we believe that Brij Bhushan has accused the media of conducting a trial against him. He says that he's being targeted by the media itself. Media doing its job, reporting on the wrestlers who sat in protest right from the month of Jan up to date. Months of protests, and finally it seems like the police have expedited the investigation here, filed a 1,600-page charge sheet, but it appears that Brij Bhushan feels like he's victimized here. How far will the court go to entertain such an allegation or clamp down on media reporting this case?
Well, Nabila, one thing that the court has made extremely clear today is that if there is any allegation that Brij Bhushan has to make, it can't be done in thin air. He has to move the appropriate application before the court, which means that if he is alleging a media trial, then he needs to go to the High Court and ask for a proper gag order to be put in place and put the money where his mouth is, and instead of making statements in thin air, get the things down on paper and move the court with an appropriate application. So the court is not going to take any statements just being made off record. They are going to ensure that everything is happens through the proper mechanism and through the proper procedure, and which is why when Brij Bhushan's counsel tried to make the argument that there is a media trial or there's an apprehension that a media trial might be going on, because the charge sheet has now reached several media houses, keeping that in mind, the Rouse Avenue Court categorically said that if he has any such apprehension, he should ask for a gag order or for in-camera proceedings, approach the appropriate court and try and get some sort of relief. Because for now, the court is not going to gag the media only on the basis of some apprehensions that are being raised by Brij Bhushan. But in the same breath, let me clarify, the court has also said that the media needs to be responsible when it comes to reporting cases, especially cases of sexual harassment, even though there are no minors in this case where the 6 women wrestlers have alleged charges of sexual harassment against Brij Bhushan. But at the same time, there needs to be some sort of prudence that needs to be carried out by the media organizations before reporting on such cases, especially with regard to the identities of the victims, or rather survivors of the sexual harassment. So keeping that in mind, a word of warning is also coming in for the media from the court, but at the same time there is no gag order being put in place. It remains to be seen whether Brij Bhushan is serious enough about these allegations to actually go ahead and ask for a gag order on the media, because we've seen even in the past instances, the court usually doesn't take lightly to suppression of freedom of expression in any manner. So if Brij Bhushan actually makes such an argument before the court, he will have to show some cogent reasons about how there is an actual media trial that is going on against him, with some proper evidence in place along with media reports, and these statements cannot be just made out of thin air before the court of law.
So, well, Nalini, clearly Brij Bhushan here is more apprehensive about the details of the charge sheet being leaked. He's accused the media of conducting a trial on him. Very upset that a lot of information of the charge sheet has now come out, including those very damning images that shows clearly on Brij Bhushan making those advances, physical advances towards some of those victims that could really add up against or amount to a conviction sooner than later. Nalini, thank you very much for joining us. But relief here briefly, barely for 2 days for the axed WFI chief Brij Bhushan. In fact, Brij Bhushan, his tenure as the WFI chief has ended. He surely did not resign from it because he remained defiant on the allegations that were leveled against him, claiming his innocence. Delhi court has now granted him interim bail, and his regular bail plea would be heard on Thursday. This comes in the backdrop of some photographs that are quite incriminating as proof that's come out on the wrestlers' dangle for justice. There are photographs that we're showing to you here that confirm the suspended WFI, or rather the WFI chief who has completed his tenure, Brij Bhushan's presence at those events where alleged incident of sexual harassment took place. These form really a part of the technical evidence in the Delhi police's charge sheet against Bhushan Sharan Singh. 2 photographs allegedly show him making these advances towards the complainant. In the testimony given by 6 women wrestlers, there is mention of 10 such cases in which there's an allegation of molestation. The BJP MP faces some serious charges of sexual harassment, inappropriate touching, intimidation, stalking, etc.